I really didn't want to make this video. I already have one prepared where I talk at length about why modern PC gaming is awful, but one thing in particular about modern gaming really makes me crash out. There are so many games out there that are unoptimized or just run like absolute shit in general, and rightfully get backlash for it. Games like Monster Hunter Wilds, Borderlands 4, or The Outer Worlds 2 are just some examples from this year. But that does not apply to all modern games, nor is every performance issue the game's fault. Because many instances of performance complaints are made by severely uninformed people who are unwilling to put in any effort. Because PC gaming and gaming in general has become way more popular in recent years, there are a lot more people buying and building PCs, and that is great. But I have seen so many examples of people expecting a plug-and-play experience from PC gaming, and to be honest, we are not even close to being there yet. PC gaming still requires some understanding of basic PC terminology, some willingness to troubleshoot issues, and most importantly, some common sense. And it's the latter which most of these people seem to be lacking. First up, the most common thing I've seen online: people overestimating their rig's performance. There are many people out there who think their PC should be able to run games at certain settings, at a certain resolution, with a certain frame rate, for no objective reason whatsoever. Maybe they've seen YouTube videos from creators just putting random numbers on screen, or maybe they don't understand what impact all of the components in a PC build can have on game performance. Maybe the PC builder they bought their PC from promised them some outrageous performance figures. But just looking at benchmarks or performance numbers without context and clear testing methodology creates certain expectations in people. And when their artificial targets then cannot be reached, they go online and call a game unoptimized. And to be completely honest, estimating what kind of performance you can expect on specific hardware is kind of difficult and dependent on a number of things. Your OS, the specific components used in the build, other things running on your machine, specific settings in the OS or BIOS being enabled or disabled, drivers, and many more. Unfortunately, there is no way to predict performance on one specific PC unless tested on that PC. And many people do not have enough knowledge about their own PC hardware to even form reasonable expectations of performance. So they compare it to random performance numbers they've seen online, without any real way to extrapolate to their own system. I've seen countless posts online of people just asking, "I have this GPU, why am I not getting the performance I've seen online?" without mentioning their settings, the resolution of their monitor, or the other PC components, or anything at all. I have also seen plenty of people trying to play games at way too high settings or too high resolutions for what their systems can handle. Hell, I probably am one of them. Since its release, I have been using my RTX 3080 on a 4K screen. And with recent games, the 10GB VRAM budget stretched really thin at 4K, but it still ran everything I needed it to. Would I have gotten a better experience at 1440p? Probably. But I have a really nice 4K HDR screen, so I am going to use it. And as long as I knew how to work around my constraints, I didn't have any issues. Lowering the texture settings or avoiding high VRAM cost options like ray tracing or frame gen generally did the trick there. I have since switched to an RX 9070 XT to get some more VRAM, which was my most limiting factor with newer games. My 3080 has moved into my girlfriend's PC and has been happily chugging along at 4040p, where the 10GB of VRAM are more appropriate. Running out of VRAM is actually also quite a common cause for people experiencing lower performance than expected. And while GPU manufacturers keep skimping on VRAM and devs keep treating it like some kind of plentiful resource in every single PC, it will probably be this way for some time longer. The next issue goes hand in hand with that as well. Lots of PC players are unwilling to lower settings to a reasonable level. What's the point of PC gaming if you cannot run the highest settings, right? Wrong. If you've ever struggled to get a game running on lowest settings on whatever shitbox of a PC you happen to have at the time, you know that low settings and even low frame rates and resolutions can be playable if you are determined enough. I ran Call of Duty 4 on my old laptop without a dedicated GPU at the time at 1024 by 768 and low settings to get frame rates above 40 FPS. And I still had a blast. Of course, my standards have gotten higher and I can't see myself going back to those levels of performance or visual fidelity, but lowering some settings to get the performance you want is not the end of the world. High, medium, or even low in some scenarios is fine if you can't run ultra. Or crank up the settings and play the lower frame rate. That's the beauty of PC gaming, you have the choice. And if both of those are not an option for you, skip the game for now or get better hardware. Until we get really well optimized games again, there are basically no other options. Unfortunately, many games also don't give a good representation of what settings actually do and how they affect your performance. But on the other hand, if the game won't show you what changes with settings turned down, I'm certain a lot of people will not notice the difference between, let's say, ultra and high, without a direct side-by-side comparison. And while YouTube videos comparing settings make it kind of obvious by zooming in and showing mostly static scenes, the differences are way less noticeable with the game actually in motion. I also mentioned troubleshooting before. A lot of PC gamers are, unfortunately, PC illiterate, meaning they don't even know basic terminology, which is somewhat required for PC gaming. That itself isn't that big an issue because you can just look stuff up you don't know. Except many people are not even capable of Googling their problems or asking AI for help. To give you an example, Battlefield 6 confronted some players with an error message telling them that secure boot was required to play the game and that they should enable it. Not a big deal, right? Just type "how do I enable secure boot" into Google, maybe look up the process for your specific motherboard, and Bob's your uncle. Or you could just use the link they provided in the error message, but reading is apparently no longer a common skill a lot of people have. Now, you can think of those kinds of anti-cheat requirements what you will, but like it or not, they are very much stated in the system requirements as well, and shouldn't come as a surprise to someone buying the game. Instead, I've seen them take to online forums and Reddit to post a picture of said error message with the caption, "What does that mean?" Or just post a negative review because they can't play. I'm in awe of people like that, because I cannot comprehend how they get through their lives on their own, unable to look up even some basic things on the internet. And let me make this very clear, I'm not blaming people for not knowing things, but I do fully blame them for the inability to do some basic research. Last but not least, I am convinced that quite a few PC gamers have just absolutely messed up their PCs, knowingly or unknowingly. Because many people do not know how to fix their own issues or how to do proper research on a topic, they also don't know what a good source looks like, and just get random advice from strangers or content creators who don't know enough to give advice in the first place. This leads them to change random settings in their OS, their games, or even their BIOS that can lead to serious issues down the line. Or they install software that is supposed to fix an issue, only to not just not fix the issue, but now also slow down or crash their PCs. And I can only imagine how many people who are complaining about performance have countless other programs running while gaming. Maybe one or two videos on the side, maybe video streams on Discord, downloading things, or even having a second game up in the background. Or maybe that definitely stable overclock isn't so stable after all. All of these things can and will eat into your performance or even cause crashes. Some of you may think I'm exaggerating, but these are all things I've seen personally with some of my friends. And all of these issues then get blamed on the game for not running well. I don't want to defend the big corporations which churn out unoptimized game after unoptimized game. I'm just saying that some people are just as responsible for their games running like garbage and have been for as long as PC gaming has been a thing. But I also know that sometimes it's neither the gamers or the game's fault at all. Sometimes PCs just don't work right. I've once had two 100% identical PCs side by side, where one would experience some serious issues for no logical reason while the other didn't. These issues could only then be remedied with a clean install of the OS. If your PC experiences some weird issues, a clean reinstall may help as well. Or you could just have some weird compatibility issues with some of your components. With the sheer number of possible configurations out there, that isn't unheard of. Or maybe whatever PC builder built your PC has messed up some settings before you even got your hands on your PC. A lot of things are possible, and unless you actually have good knowledge of PCs or even work in IT like me, your chances of finding fixes for some obscure issues by yourself are basically zero. But that's enough ranting from me for now. I hope some of you found this somewhat informative or can relate at some level, because it really bothered me. I'm not going to say I hope you enjoyed the video, but I do hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video, which should come out shortly.